The Big Chance. Written by John Caldwell and illustrated by Sonia Holliman. Drink your tea. Ray Martin, the new boss of Small Town Football Club, was very happy. It was almost half-time and his team were winning 1-0. Ray raced down to the changing room to talk to the team. 11 cups of tea were waiting for the players. The team jogged in, looking tired but happy.
"Well done, lads," smiled Ray. "You must be thirsty. Drink your tea while it's hot."
"In a minute, boss," said Steve the captain. Then Ray noticed one player after another taking their cups of tea into the shower room. When they came back, the cups were empty. "That's funny," thought Ray. "Drinking tea in the shower." Steve the captain picked up his cup. Ray followed him. In the shower room, Steve was pouring his tea down the sink.
"What's going on?"
said Ray. Steve leapt in the air and dropped his cup. The sound of the smashing cup brought the other players running.
"It was his fault," sobbed Steve. "He made me jump."
"What shall we do?" moaned Nick, the goalkeeper. "Maybe we can glue it," said Steve.
"Will somebody tell me what's going on?" said Ray. "Why are you all tipping your tea down the sink?"
Nobody spoke.
"Well, because it's not very nice."
"Why all the fuss about a broken cup?" "Hilda," whispered somebody. "Who is this Hilda?" "She makes the tea," hissed Nick.
"Then I shall go and tell her that the tea is not very nice."
"Shh!" hissed the team. "She'll hear you."
"She certainly will hear me," said Ray.
"Oh dear," said Nick.
"Fancy," said Ray. "A bunch of men scared of a little old tea lady."
Said one player.
"She's not little." "She's not that old," said another.
"And we're not scared of her," said Steve.
"We're terrified."
"That's enough," said Ray. "Where will I find this Hilda?" "At the tea stand," said Nick. Ray strode towards the door. "Good luck," said someone. Ray meets Hilda. The tea stand was an old caravan. Ray joined a quiet queue of fans.
"I'd like 1 cup of tea, please, with a dash of milk and no sugar," said a big man. "You'll get it how I make it, and you'll like it," boomed a voice from inside the caravan.
The next man in the queue already had a cup of tea. "Excuse me," he said politely.
"Yes?"
boomed the voice. "I'm sorry to bother you," continued the man, "but this tea is not very nice."
"What did you say?"
The caravan began to tremble. The caravan rocked and shook. There was a great bang and the door flew off its hinges. There, in the hole where the door had been, stood Hilda. She wore a green skirt, an apron, red boots, and a jumper that said Small Town FC.
"Hilda!" gasped Ray.
Hilda stepped down from the caravan, rolling up her sleeves. She strode over to the man.
"Do you know what I do with great moaning minnies who come complaining about my tea?"
I don't know," stammered the man.
I do this, said Hilda. Hilda grabbed the man and threw him over her shoulder. She marched down towards the pitch. Help! cried the man. Hilda strode into the goal area. She lifted the man over her head and sat him on the crossbar. Get me down! yelled the man. Hilda marched back to her tea stand. What are you looking at? she said to one supporter. Nothing. Is that cup on the floor yours? Put it in the bin. Hilda climbed back into the caravan. Right, said Hilda. Any more complaints? I think I'll talk to Hilda after the game, said Ray to himself. A group of fans helped the man down from the goalpost. Excuse me, Ray asked them, but if the tea is so horrible, why do you buy it? One of the fans looked up towards the tea stand. It's okay, he said. She's looking the other way. If you don't buy a cup of tea, whispered another, she comes out and makes you drink 2 cups. So, said another, it's safer to buy a cup and tip it away. Ray looked around. All over the terraces were puddles of tea. She'll have to go, said Ray to himself. Ray walked back to the changing room. The players had just left to start the second half. Instead of watching the game, Ray paced up and down. The game ended in a 3-1 win for Small Town FC. As the players trotted into the changing room, Ray patted them on the back. Right, he said bravely. I'm off to see Hilda. The players crowded into the shower room. Nick, the goalkeeper, climbed up on Steve's shoulders. He looked out of the window. What's going on? asked the others. He's reached the tea stand. Yes. He's talking to Hilda. Oh no, he's on his way back. The players raced out of the shower room, leaving Nick hanging onto the window ledge. Oi, lads! yelled Nick. Get me down!
Please explain this picture. Example answer. Ray, the boss of Small Town Football Club, discovered that the players weren't drinking the tea prepared for them. They had been pouring it down the sink. When Steve accidentally broke his cup, everyone overreacted. That's when Ray realized the players were afraid of the tea lady, Hilda. Angry and confused, Ray decided to confront her. When he went to meet her, the players suddenly rushed into the shower room to find out what was going on with them. Nick, the goalkeeper, even climbed onto Steve's shoulders to look out the window, convinced that Ray might be in trouble.
The changing room door opened. In staggered Ray with a tea urn rammed on his head. You told her then, said Steve as he pulled the urn off. The changing room door flew open and Hilda marched in. Where do you think you are going with my tea urn? Just then, there was a terrific crash from the shower room. Everybody raced into the shower room. Nick was lying on the floor. I fell, he moaned. My leg really hurts. He won't be able to play next week, said Steve sadly. That's the cup game against City, said Hilda. That is all I need, groaned Ray. A goalkeeper who can't make saves and a tea lady who can't make tea. What did you say? Roared Hilda.
Please explain this picture. Example answer. When Ray came back after talking to Hilda, the players came running out of the shower. They had left Nick hanging from the window ledge. He shouted for help, but no one reached him in time. With a loud crash, he fell to the floor. Everyone rushed into the shower room. Nick was lying there on the ground. His leg was hurt so badly that he wouldn't be able to play in next week's cup game against City.
The changing room fell silent.
began Ray.
Suddenly, Hilda gave a great sob.
Do you think I don't know what goes on? She sighed. I've seen people tipping their tea away. I've tried so hard to make a nice cup of tea, but I just can't. It always goes wrong.
Then Hilda pulled her apron over her head and cried. The players had never seen Hilda cry. It was more frightening than any of her tempers. Ray put his arm around Hilda's shoulder.
I'm sorry, he said.
I should never have said anything about your tea.
But it's true, wailed Hilda.
What can I do to make it up to you? Asked Ray. Hilda slowly let the apron fall. A little smile crept across her face.
You could let me play in goal on Saturday.
Impossible, said Ray.
But there's no one else, said Steve.
I'll think about it, said Ray.
Think about it, sniffed Hilda. If I don't play on Saturday, 2 things will happen. 1, we will lose against City because we haven't got a goalkeeper.
And the other?
I shall stuff you back in that tea urn for not letting me play.
Gentlemen, said Ray, may I introduce Hilda, our new goalie? A proper goalkeeper. The 2 teams raced onto the pitch to a great roar from the crowd. Hilda strode towards the goal at the City fans' end. Someone in the crowd yelled, "That's not a proper goalkeeper! It's the tea lady!" Slowly, Hilda turned.
Who said that?
She growled. The crowd fell silent.
I asked! Who spoke?
Please explain this picture. Example answer. The team's goalkeeper was injured and couldn't play in the upcoming game against City. Ray complained, not just about the injured goalkeeper, but also about the tea lady, saying she couldn't even make a decent cup of tea. Hilda, the tea lady, burst into tears and apologized for her tea. Ray quickly apologized for his complaint as well, but Hilda kept crying. Then, to everyone's surprise, Hilda made an unexpected suggestion. She wanted to play as the goalkeeper against City on Saturday. With no healthy goalkeepers left, Ray had no choice but to accept. On match day, Hilda stood in front of the goal at the end, packed with City fans. Someone in the crowd shouted that she was not a goalkeeper, but a tea lady. Hilda growled forcefully, and the crowd fell silent. She was born as a powerful person. Thanks for watching this video. It's the first part of the book, The Big Chance. Please continue reading through the link below. Discussion. Who do you think was the winner? What role do you think Hilda had in the game? What do you think is the most important characteristic of a good goalkeeper? Please choose one. Well done. Thank you very much. Narrated by Teacher Phoebe from English Aloud. Questions and answers by Kevin and Phoebe from English Aloud.